All right, I'm here now with Jack Lyons of SLU Hockey Blog. He is a USCHO arena reporter. Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course, no problem, MJ. Glad to be here.
All right, so Quinnipiac and St. Lawrence, of course, are playing this weekend in the quarterfinals, but Quinnipiac struggled so far this year against St. Lawrence. They have no goals for. St. Lawrence and Kyle Hayton have shut out the Bobcats twice, except for, of course, the shootout in the Belfast tournament over in Ireland. So, as for St. Lawrence's defense and goaltending, what can you say about them and what makes them so successful?
Well, I got to be honest. Anytime you talk about the defensive statistics for the Saints, it has to start with a discussion of Kyle Hayton. He's been one of the best goalies in the country since he started at St. Lawrence, and he consistently puts the team on his back. And pretty much every night, the guy makes at least one or two saves that would have been sure goals had he not been there. So he's really the backbone of the St. Lawrence defense, and what his play allows the Saints to do is have the kind of defensemen that they have, guys like Bayreuther, Bukowski, Finkelstein, and Sweetman, who don't mind and are quite good at jumping up into the rush and contributing offensively. Because they play so aggressively, sometimes they turn the puck over at the Saints blue line or in the defensive zone, and having a guy back there like Hayton, who can bail the team out and bail those turnovers out a significant percentage of the time, really allows St. Lawrence to play the kind of offense that they like to play, which is to run the offense through the defensemen and have them either make the breakout pass or carry the puck out of the zone themselves. So any discussion of the defense has to start with Hayton. But then you also have to look at the defensemen they have, and because they're so good offensively, they're really good skaters, and that also allows them to recover and move really well with players in the defensive zone and in the neutral zone. So it's really defense played in all three zones because of how good at skating the Saints defensemen are, and then of course they have Hayton back there to bail them out when the puck might pop over their stick.
Jack, it actually sounds very reminiscent of last year with Michael Gartig for Quinnipiac, and of course brings them all the way to the national championship game. But offensively now, we just talked about Hayton in the defense. What does St. Lawrence bring to the table offensively in trying to get pucks past Quinnipiac's freshman goaltender who's likely to get the start, Andrew Shortridge?
Yeah, right. So the Saints offense, it's been struggling a little bit. For a significant part of the season, they were averaging more than 3 goals a game. They've dropped down to just under 3 at 2.88. So, still a pretty deadly offensive team, or not deadly, but they can put the puck in the net. And a lot of the problems that they've been running into offensively have been injuries, not so much poor play or lack of talent, but injuries. Guys who are big scorers for St. Lawrence missing significant time. Mike Marnell has missed 12 games, and he's the leading scorer for the Saints, and he's their points per game leader, 24 points in 22 games. Jacob Pritchard, 4th on the team, he's missed 4 games. Nolan Glukowski, 6th on the team, he's missed 6 games. And Gavin Bayreuther leading the way with 27 points in 27 games. He's missed 7 games. So a lot of their offensive struggles this year have come more from injuries than a lack of production for any sort of poor play. But what they do offensively that makes them really consistent is that, like I was saying, they run it through their defensemen. And what that allows them to do is to score from really anywhere in the offensive zone. The problem that they often run into is that all it really takes is to shut down the points to kill the Saints offense.
Interesting. So Quinnipiac forwards definitely not going to want to leave their assignments up at the point come next weekend. But Jack, if you had to pick a deciding factor for this game, meaning what St. Lawrence is going to do to propel them to the next round, or if it's Quinnipiac, what do they need to do to get into Lake Placid?
Well, I think if you look at the team statistically, they're very similar. Quinnipiac scores a little bit more. St. Lawrence defends just a little bit better. They're both pretty good on the penalty kill. So I'm going to look at the power play because in years past, it's been the bread and butter of Quinnipiac. They've been incredibly effective on the power play, and they still have been pretty darn good this year, 18.5%. That has not been a strength of St. Lawrence in recent years, and actually you could probably contribute at least one of their 2 semifinal losses the last 2 years to a lack of production on the power play. They're only 13.2% on the season, but they did have a stretch of 8 games in a row right in the middle of the season where they scored a power play goal in every game. So it's never, again, like we were saying about the offense, it hasn't necessarily been a problem with personnel, especially with the guys running the power play from the point, those defensemen, Bayreuther, Glukowski, Sweetman, and Finkelstein, having those point men there who are so dynamic and can step up and play below the hash marks and below the goal line, and that allows for a lot of rotation on the power play. And I really don't. We've been looking for an answer to the struggles of the power play for the last 3 years, and I don't quite know what exactly is wrong with the power play. They generate shots, they generate chances, and it could just be bad puck luck. But for a 3-year streak of bad puck luck on the power play to be the case, it seems a little bit outlandish. So for me, the key will be the power play, because whenever these two teams meet, there's a lot of emotions, and it usually tends to be a kind of penalty-filled affair. So if one team is able to capitalize on their power play and the other isn't, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to call the team struggling on the power play the winner.
Quinnipiac, of course, their power play has been succeeding more effectively as of late. Players like Landon Smith definitely getting hot at the right time for the Bobcats, but we'll just have to wait and see. So, Jack, thank you so much for taking the time today. We'll see you just a couple days up in Canton.
Oh, of course, yes. No problem. Thanks for having me on. I'll see you in a few days.
All right, no problem, Jack. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at SLU Hockey Blog. Kirby, that's all we got. Back to you.